Sean, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for coming to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure.
You know, when I saw the article, when I saw the title of the article you wrote, from English teacher to a character artist, I
Correct.
told myself that I have to talk to this guy.
Just by reading the title of the article, yeah.
And then when I started reading the article,
Ah,
and man, you're a musician.
I am.
You're a language educator.
Yes, that's
You're a
right.
drawing instructor.
Correct.
And I was like, how the hell did he do all of this?
Well, it's I tried to make my story short in the article, but there's a lot more to it anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain because I've got many passions, and throughout the years, as I grew up, I tried to invest time. I mean, like, not really consciously, but I tried to do the things that I liked as much as I could. Like drawing, for example, that was my first real experience with with a passion. So drawing to me was natural. Like I would grab my pencil and my paper and just draw all day. And then music. I started playing the drums at about, if I remember correctly, at about the age of 14, something like that, with friends, in punk rock bands. Because music to me was also something that was always present around me. It was something that surrounded me every day. Like my father was a piano player, my mother too. So he would listen to music every day. He would wake us all up listening to,
Okay.
lots of music from America, North America, and England too. Um, and then English. I mean, when I started playing games, I think it was, as I told you, with the Atari. Thanks to my friends, I caught myself having to understand those texts and those messages in English, which was something that I mean, in the video game thing, it was new to me, but English was not new to me anyway because of my father, who was always bringing English content to us. Um, and so those three things, like games, drawing, I mean, four things perhaps: games, drawing, music, and English were always like around me all the time. So I didn't have to make an effort to go and look for them. And I had the time to enjoy all of them anyway, because I was a kid, right? So my parents would not, tell me, don't do this, don't do that. So I was lucky enough to be free to do those things and, spend my time doing them. Well, you might ask me, so what about school? Well, I had time to
Yeah,
school.
exactly.
I mean,
I was thinking about that actually. I was thinking
yeah,
about
like I had time to go to school too, of course. But when I was home, I would do my homework and then, forget all that and focus on other things that I really liked more than just, homework. I was good at school, but later in my life, like at the end of my studies at school, I was a little bit lazy in school. So, I wasn't really the best example, except when it came to languages. I was really good at English and Portuguese at school. Those were the subjects that really, made me feel comfortable. And so, because I was so much into those things, I had to make a choice for myself. I mean, professional-wise. So I went to university at I think it was in 2006, right? 2006. So I studied for about 5 years, and then I started working as an English teacher. But all those passions that I, previously mentioned were not left aside completely. I continued drawing and I continued playing music. I tried to manage my time in a way that I could, continue doing those things as much as I could. So I drew a lot, throughout my studies. I played a lot of music throughout my studies too, parallel to my main education at university. And that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know. I just did what I thought I could do, and I tried to keep up my passions as much as possible. And until I sort of got tired of teaching, and I really mean tired because I'm a little bit restless. I have to do things, I mean, many things at the same time. And after 10 years, over 10 years teaching, I told myself, let's have a break and do something else. So I decided to look for something else to do. And as I knew I was really into games and really into drawing, art in general, I did a lot of researches and I came across the 3D realm and I decided to try to do that. Why not? I mean, just why not, right? A lot of people do it. You hear sometimes stories about people that, quit their jobs and start doing this. So I wanted to do it anyway. So I went for it. And I started doing this 3D thing. I think it was July last year. June, July last year. It's only been a year and a few months, but it's been very, very interesting, very, very intense too. And I've learned a lot, even though there's a lot more to learn, of course. It's only been a year and a few months, so it's very early to me.
Yeah. But the thing is, have you... I'll go back to 3D, but
Sure.
I want to ask you about one thing first.
Yeah.
Have you ever been told that, Sean, you have to stop and focus on only one thing, you're spreading yourself too thin or something like that? Have you ever been told that?
Yeah, of course, yes. I mean, when you listen to people on the internet giving advices about your career choices, you will often hear, focus on one thing because you haven't got much time to do all of those things that you like. And that's partially true because, I mean, depending on what you want to do, you'd better focus on that one particular thing, right? When it comes to CG art, I mean, things are so competitive nowadays that, if you don't specialize in one thing, you're sort of, I mean, it's more, you're more likely to find something that, to find an activity in this realm if you're specialized. But, I don't know, really. I try my best to learn as much as I can about character art. But I don't stop drawing and I don't stop playing music completely. I find myself here, sometimes here and there playing a little bit of music, and I find myself drawing more regularly than not, than not. But well, of course, CG art for me now is my main thing, of course. But I haven't other things completely. So.
So the thing is, with someone like you who's doing all of these things, how do you optimize your time? It's a dilemma for me. I'm trying to do a lot of things, but I can't manage my time. So how do you do it?
Well, it's a hard thing to do, especially when you have a family like I do. I've got a partner and a kid. She is 6 months old, and she is gorgeous. So, I have to manage my personal time, my professional time, and my family time. And the way I do that is, I count on I rely on my partner to support me, which she does. She's great. She really helps me a lot. She's really patient with me. Oh yeah. I owe a lot to her. I really owe a lot to her. When I'm not with my kid and my partner, I focus on what I have to do. Like, I've been working for a studio in Vancouver for about a month and a half now, and I spend most of my time producing for them. But when I'm not producing for them, or with my kid and my partner, I do my other things, like I draw, and I try to learn other softwares too. But how much time have I got left for me during the day for other things? Very little. Sleep? Well, 5 hours. Sometimes less, Yeah, 6 hours if I'm lucky. Yeah. But what can I say?
Do you exercise and do you exercise?
If I exercise, well, I used to exercise a lot. When I was back in Brazil, I was really into sports. I used to go swimming, go to the gym. But since I came to Europe, I have had other things to do. and I haven't really had the time to go to the gym or do physical activities as much as I would like to. But that is something that I should do more often. You're right. I just need to find the time to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing is, it is something I'm searching about all the time, is how to optimize learning. I mean, you yourself, you're a teacher,
Right.
and you're learning all the time.
Oh, yeah.
How do I optimize learning, especially if someone like want to do CG? There is a whole world there to learn.
Well, there's something called deliberate practice, which is something that we talk about in education to our students, which basically consists of focusing on your weaknesses, If you continue practicing and learning about that which you already know, that which is something that you're already good at, you're not making much progress. So I try my best to identify my weaknesses and work on them. That, I believe, is a good strategy to improving yourself. To improve yourself in what you want to do. For example, I've been struggling with Marvelous Designer nowadays because I've had to produce some stuff in Marvelous Designer, and that software to me is completely new. So I've had to spend my time, the time that I'm not working for the studio and not with my family, I try to, spend a little bit of time every day learning that software. So yes, I have to sacrifice a lot of things in my life, I could be watching a movie, I could be sitting watching a TV series or playing games, something that I haven't done for years, like games. Man, I miss that a lot. But I have to, I have priorities, and I cannot, just continue doing those things that are very good, but that won't really help me reaching my goals, So I try my best to leave those things aside as much as I can to focus on my weaknesses and try to, get better at those weak points.
You said something. You said about video games. I mean,
Yes.
you can see all the games they have there.
Oh yeah, that's a big list right there.
The thing is, I feel the same. Like I want to go to play video games a lot. Okay, I miss playing video games since I started doing 3D in 2018. I'm playing I can't play I can play only 1 hour in a month. Okay, all my focus on 3D and stuff like that. I was talking to some artists and I was telling them about this also, and they're telling me, in your case, it's also the same, that what motivated you in the beginning is video games.
Right.
Right? So for me, what motivated me also is video games. So,
Right.
Do you see that as does that discourage you not having time to play video games and doing stuff like that?
Well, not really, because I know why I'm here. Like, I know why I want to do what I do. Because, well, I like creating. I like coming up with concepts and characters. I like learning those softwares and being, part of the community. And I know that, once I get past these first years of learning, like intense learning, I will work faster in the future. And I'll have more time to do other things that I like, such as playing games. I just have to. Yeah. To me, it's a matter of choosing priorities. Respecting your priorities, because if they are actually priorities, you won't have to choose them. They impose themselves. It's up to you to respect them or not. Like, playing games is fun and all. I love it. But it's just not a priority right now. And I know that, I will be able to play in the future again. I just have to be patient, wait for that time to come. I'm already very, very, very busy at the moment, so I cannot add such a thing to my day.
Yeah.
My baby won't let me.
I understand.
Which is totally reasonable. My partner neither, which is totally reasonable too. And my job won't let me do that too. come on, we like I'm okay with that. Even though I miss playing games, I'm okay with it because I know it'll come again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel that you pursued a career in video games, and I mean, the studio you're working on, it's a video game studio, right?
Correct. We produce characters, game-ready characters. Yes.
How does it feel that you set a goal and you achieve, like, let's say, partially achieved it?
You mean like I said to myself to start working in this industry, and now I'm doing it?
Yeah.
Well, it feels good, of course. I'm really happy to be doing this, of course. Like, but at the same time, this is not the end for me. Like, just the beginning, right? I've just started, and I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by people that help me so much. You know, I've got a lot of feedback from friends and other professionals, you know, that were essential to me, and still are. Like, I still need them. I still need, you know, their help to keep on improving. So it feels good to be in the community, to be producing. I've been learning a lot through this last month. So, but at the same time, it's just the beginning, as I said. I want more, and I want to produce more for more people, and I want to, participate as much as I can and learn as much as I can, and find out more about the community, this 3D thing, the game environment too. So there's more to come. I hope. Yeah.
So you got hired after the character you released, the latest character, right?
If I got tired of it?
No, you got hired.
Yes, correct. Yes, correct. Yes,
Yeah.
I posted that Asra Of Yerevan. I got some offers. Some worked out, some did not work out. So I'm glad I found one that suited me and suited the company itself. So I'm good.
Yeah, like I used to be a student in Vertex School. It's an online school.
Cool.
Do you know it? Yeah.
Of course I do. Yes.
Yeah. So Ryan Kixlin, he always tell us that you only need one high quality character. Spend all the time you need on that character. Once you get it, you'll be hired. Okay, and actually, I think that's the situation here. Then you spend a lot of time on this character, right? You learned a lot on this character, and you got hired in the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and what I wanted to ask you is, can you take us throughout the journey of this character?
Well, I'll try. So I had. As I said, I started doing learning 3D July last year. I learned the basics of ZBrush. I learned the basics of Keyshot and other softwares, and Maya too. And then I continued doing, studying with tutorials. I studied with a guy called André Castro, who is a Brazilian 3D artist. That was my first 3D 101, guidance, which was really, really good to me. And then I started another course with Igor Cato, who is another great 3D artist from Brazil. During that course with him, we tried to produce a game-ready character. And so my project for that course was my last character. And so he taught us, he showed us the whole process of a game-ready character creation. And that's where I learned most of what I know of the game-ready side of things. So first of all, we studied anatomy with him. We worked on the artistic look of the character, and the body proportions in it, and all those very important things, anatomy related. And then we started working on the assets of the character. Well, I mean, we started trying to develop the concept of the character, because I mean, Igor Kat really motivated us to create our own characters. He said, well, if you want to do someone else's concept, go ahead, feel free. But if you want to try yours, go ahead too. I mean, that's also possible. So I went for my own concept. As I knew I had some 2D background, I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And so I developed the concept, rough idea, like silhouettes and things like that, the mood for the character. And once he said, well, good, go ahead, start blocking the character. So I moved on to the assets, just blocking the assets in ZBrush, trying to find the general forms of the character. At that time, design was also something that, was constantly in development. Because even though I had developed the concept first, the whole design was not definite, at that moment yet. So during the 3D stage, I also worked on the design, of course, the forms, the lines, and the elements that composed the character, what would work, what would not work, etc. And then once the high poly was okay, I moved on to the low poly task, which I did in Maya, basic stuff in Maya, just one-on-one polygons, I tried to make it look good in Maya, meaning preserving the silhouette, while at the same time not making it very heavy, because it needed to be game ready anyway, right? So it came out about 160,000 tris, something like that, which is not too heavy nowadays. There are characters out there who carry many more polygons. So after the low poly was done, I did the bakes. All the bakes were done in Substance Painter, 3D Painter, I believe they call it like that now. And then I started doing the textures there. And that was a real fun for me, man. Doing the textures is definitely my favorite part of
seeing your character come to life.
Oh yeah, plus it's very fun. Like you're painting. Yeah. You're really painting like on your own character in 3D. What could be better than that? Perhaps in VR one day. I don't know. And so while I was texturing the character, I simultaneously checked it on Marmoset. I was always, comparing the texturing in Substance Painter, and in Marmoset, because Marmoset, I had all the lights and everything that I needed to see the character properly. So I did that, and then after the textures were done, I did a few renders, and it was good to go, I suppose. I worked on the look dev and published it, and it was.
Did you have any expectation after you released the character?
Well, I knew it wouldn't be that bad. I knew I would get a good reaction. But the final reaction to me was way better than I expected. I knew I had done a good job, but I didn't expect it to be so good, which is great because I'm really happy with that kind of surprise. I say so good because I'm referring back to people's feedback, not to my own opinion about it. It's good. But it's, to me, it's still very, very. It's my first character. Come on, so I can't say it's perfect, and it will never be perfect anyway. So
definitely. I was talking to one of my friends. He released his character a couple of weeks ago, and he was surprised also by the reaction he got. And he was telling me he was so surprised. He started refreshing the page every 3 seconds.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy.
But it's I'm really happy to learn how this thing works, because before I posted my last character, I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if people would contact me to offer a job or anything. I had no idea what would happen. People would tell me, well, get ready, you're going to get jobs and everything. So I said, well, okay, I don't know. Let's wait to see what happens. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, it is. Um, what was the most difficult step in creating this character? You told me you enjoyed texturing the most, but what was the most difficult for
the
you?
hair. Good
The
God,
hair.
man.
Yeah, everyone is saying the hair is most difficult.
Oh, my word. I mean, placing those cards. How come there are people that are specialized in that thing? I mean, they must be nuts. Like, placing the cards is boring as hell. But when you see the outcome, I mean, the result, it's really rewarding. But I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell you that I liked placing the cards. No, I did not. Sorry about that. Sorry for disappointing you, but placing the cards is not really my favorite part. But I did it, and it looked okay at the end.
Okay. Overall, how long did you spend on the character?
Okay, so when I finished developing the concept, I spent about 4 months and a half on it. The course lasted 6 months, 6 months and a half, something like that. During the first 2 months, we studied basic 3D stuff, anatomy, and how to start blocking the things in ZBrush. But when we started working on the character itself, it took me about 4 months and a half. Because then again, like every step to me was a new step. So when I was doing the ZBrush stage, I didn't know what was going to come next. I had really a very faint idea of what was going to come next. So when I moved on to the low poly, I was wondering, so what's next? What's going to be next? Is it I don't know, UVs? What are UVs? So yeah, every step was new to me. So it took a long time.
Do you find pleasure in learning new things that you don't know about?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's like I do find pleasure in learning those things, but because they are related to something that I really like UVs, retopo, hair cards. Those things are not the most fun things to do, right? But they are part of the process, and if I know that the outcome is going to be good and please me, those steps in the middle are okay for me. Like I go through them. It's just a matter of being patient, understanding what you're doing first, and then executing the task and getting to the next stage until you see the final result. So, but I do find pleasure in learning things. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is your, like, as someone who went through the journey, let's say, of the first successful character, what is your advice for people who want to, like, who will get into this kind of thing?
Well, it's hard to say because there are lots of people with different walks of life. I mean, different paths and different ideas and different interests. All I have to do, all I have to say to those people is nothing new, except, what I'm going to say is not new. Everybody knows this. Everybody has said this before. Do what you like. Be patient. Put in the work. You have to put in the work. And you have to focus on your priorities. Like, it's very hard to come up with a AAA character, your first AAA character, make it look good, make it stand out, if you're not serious about it. Like, it was hard, man. It was really hard for me. Sleepless nights, all the time.
What kept you going?
Well, good question. I have to say that my main inspiration was my daughter. My main inspiration was my baby. Like, every time I saw her, there was nothing I could not do, really. I looked at her every day, smiling at me, and I said, ZBrush, Maya, UVs, Retopo, hair, that's easy. There's nothing I cannot do. Second, my passion for it. Like, again, I love games, I love characters, I love designing things, I love, coming up with visuals. So I didn't really have a choice. Like, I knew I wanted to do this, and I knew I was going to finish it. I knew I was going to make it. Also, third thing, I'm very curious about, other people's experiences and other environments, other worlds. So I wanted to learn, what it feels like to be a character artist. To have a character that is published and that, pleases other people. I wanted to feel this, and I wanted to work in this industry. So I was curious about it, and my curiosity also, took me there. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah. You literally gave me goosebumps when you said one of the inspiration was your
Yes.
daughter.
Oh yeah, and she will always be.
It's something I'm thinking about with my wife. I don't have kids right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started discussing this. Should we have kids now? Should we not? Okay, and it's very difficult. It's a very difficult discussion.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, so I want to ask you something about it, actually.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. I know what's coming.
It's a lot of things. It's like I was telling my wife that if we have kids now, I have to manage my time, and I want to shift my career. And how do I manage time? How do I manage finance? And it's the unknown world for me. It's chaos.
I know.
What will happen? I mean, this is like I have to take care of this. It's someone I have to take care of. I mean,
Yes.
it's going to be my
You're right.
priority.
You're right.
Yes, and and I have to I want to pursue a career in the video games and stuff like that. And I have no idea what to do actually. So
Well,
how was it? How did you discuss having kids with your partner, and how having a daughter changed your life?
Okay, so having a kid was made possible. Was possible for us because we agreed upon certain things, such as none of us would stop doing what we loved. We wouldn't stop working and doing the things that we wanted to do. My partner is a musician, and she plays the piano, classic piano, and she works a lot, she travels a lot, and I have been doing this now. And we told ourselves we will do our best for the first months to take care of her at home, and then we will ask the childminder to take care of her during most days of the week, and then this way we can work at home and do the things that we have to do. So because we agreed upon this, we were okay. But if we did not have the choice of a childminder, we wouldn't have a kid, basically. Because even though we wanted to have a kid, we also wanted to continue working. And that to us was, fundamental. And we respect each other. We respect our projects and our life plans, both together as a couple, as a family, and individually too. So we are, pretty much on the same level there, So we have to be like that, otherwise things won't work. Both sides have to agree on these fundamental things. Like, I wouldn't count on her to stay, home with my kid because she is not that kind, and I respect that. And she wouldn't count on me to do the same thing either. So, plus the childminders here in France are great. They are very well prepared professionals. They are excellent, so we can really rely on them to take care of our kids. And that's it. And so far, she's been doing great as a childminder. She's very happy. She's made a lot of physical improvements. She's crawling almost, and she's only 6 months old. So everything's great. Everything has been well, executed so far.
Good. That's a good insight for me also to like. Well, it's a very difficult thing to discuss. We'll keep discussing this until we have a solution, me and my wife. So,
I understand. Well, that
yeah.
was our recipe to us. That's how things work for us. But that is definitely not an absolute truth or an absolute advice for for everybody. Of course not. That's how we manage it.
Exactly.
Like you guys manage what you can your way. I mean, of course. I'm just telling you what we did.
Yeah, definitely. So as much as I love talking about 3D technical stuff. I love talking more about the meaning behind the artist's life. Okay, because something interesting in your life from the article and from your talk now is you keep learning.
I do.
And I mean, of course, this is a journey in life in search for meaning and pursuing stuff that you love, and you find meaning behind doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, this is something I was thinking about like a couple of days ago. Is meaning something you search for, or meaning something meaning shows itself in the pursuit of what you love?
Well, a very good question. I don't think there is a built-in meaning to things. I don't think anything has a meaning in itself. I think meaning is something that you develop for yourself. It's something that you construct depending on your passions, your interests, your inclinations, your life goals, and your worldview. In life, I try to do things that my mind feels good about, basically. I feel good playing music. That's just how things are. I feel good, drawing and improving myself. I feel good creating characters. I feel good speaking with people like you in English. I feel good teaching English. Now, is there a meaning behind those things? I don't think there's an intrinsic meaning behind each one of those things that I've listed. But there is pleasure in them, to me. So because there is pleasure, because I like them, I do them, and because I like them, I try to do as much as I can. I try to do those things as much as I can. It's constantly. I mean, it's hard to say that there has to be a meaning to something for you to do it.
It is hard.
Because
It is hard. The
what
thing
is
is,
that? What is in
I was thinking about that a couple of days ago. That I was happier 5 years ago when I did not pursue anything. Okay, I was.
Oh yes.
I graduated from college. Even in college, I did not care about I studied what I liked. And for example, we had a subject in college called medical surgical, which is basically we're studying the diseases and the pathophysiology behind all the diseases and stuff. I loved that subject. I studied it I studied so much. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And later on we had pediatric nursing.
Okay.
I got a D in that subject. I did not like it. Okay. So as I said, I was studying the things I love, and I graduated from college, and I work in a hospital. I did not pursue anything, nothing in my mind. I was just going to work, coming back, playing video games, going to work, coming back, playing video games. And as I told you before the podcast, when I started doing my subspecialty in cardiac nursing, and I was in the ICU, and I was seeing people dying every day, and as a nurse, you are on the bedside all the time, and you're talking to those people.
Yeah.
Okay, from the time they're in until they deteriorate, until they die. Okay.
tough.
And yeah, I had a lot of conversations with those people, and one guy struck me so hard. He was like, I think he was 76 years old. He had a stroke. He had a heart attack. He was paralyzed. The only thing he can move is his head.
Wow.
And he couldn't even listen properly. And I was talking to him, like I'll go near his ears and I'll talk to him like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the only thing he was complaining about is about a guy that he gave money to a guy 30 years old, 30 years back, and that guy did not give him back the money.
Oh, man.
Okay. And literally the guy was crying. I mean, of course he did not cry about that. It's a collection of a lot of things in his life.
Uh-huh.
But seeing that gave me like a perspective that life is about pursuing meaningful things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't live like that. I can't live mindlessly without goals, without anything. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I
So
understand.
that, like, I remember going back, lying. I was lying at my bed. I was looking at the ceiling. I was like, "What the hell should I do?
Uh-huh.
What the hell should I do?" And then I remembered when I graduated from high school. The first thing I did was I opened Square Enix website.
Mm-hmm.
I love Final Fantasy. I'm in love
yeah,
with
me too.
Final Fantasy games. Yeah,
Me
you
too.
can see the poster there.
Oh, yeah. Cool, man.
Okay, and
Nice collection.
I said, "Yeah, thank you," and I was like, "I wanted to do that, so I'm going to pursue that." Okay,
You should.
and from that, from that moment, I was happier the moment before I decided to pursue a thing, but I'm more fulfilled now. That's what I'm.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
sure.
trying to say.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Well,
so
Sorry, go ahead.
The conclusion I have right now, still this is a discussion in progress in my mind, that meaning would show itself in discipline, in being disciplined, in like sticking to one thing and doing it. Discipline will meaning will show itself. I mean, the podcast here. I mean, I'm just curious. Have you ever heard about the Big 5 personality trait test?
Big 5 personality trait test. I haven't heard of that before. No, I don't recall.
You have to do it.
Okay.
You have to do it. It's the most accurate personality test there. It's
Okay.
statistically proven.
All
Okay, it talks about five traits, which is agreeableness, neuroticism, extroversion, and there was one in. I did the test in 2017, and in
Right.
particular, there was a trait that I was. So basically, you're going to do the test, and then they're going to show you, for example, let's say agreeableness. So they will show you a score. For example, they will say you are in the 40th percentile. I mean,
Right.
if there is a room with 100 people, you are the 40th. Okay. So in agreeableness, I scored 100%.
Oh.
Okay, and this trait is good for people who for nurses basically. This is good for nurses. Like female usually scores high in agreeableness. And what struck me was I don't even know how to pronounce this word, but I'll try.
Yes.
Consciousness, something like that. It's
Okay.
not consciousness, conscientiousness, something like that. Which it's the predictor of success in life. I got 0.
Oh,
Okay,
0.
because I wasn't I'm not. Yeah, I'm not disciplined at all. Like I told in college, I did not if I have a homework I did not like, I will not do it.
Okay.
Okay, so in that moment, I did the test, I read the result, I did not care. Later on, when I started pursuing the thing I want, I went back to the test. I said, yes, I'm not disciplined. I have to discipline myself. And this podcast was one of the things that pushed me to be disciplined. I have to release an episode every week. Okay? And I remember like episode 7 or 8, I said, okay, why should I continue? It's a pain in the ass. I'll stop. I'll not do it anymore. And at that moment, I remember the test. You have to continue. Put in the work. Come on, put in the work.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So going back to the meaning, people like after all of these episodes, people started approaching me and they were like, your podcast guided us in a way that we couldn't find in the internet. I mean, as I told you, like my podcast is in Arabic, so we don't have like the 3D content in Arabic is not that much. Okay, and I think I'm the only podcast that talks about 3D in Arabic.
Oh, right.
So I started seeing meaning behind this podcast, that I'm changing people. This could change people's life. This could have an impact on people's life. That's what I'm talking about. Meaning in being disciplined in pursuing the things you love. What do you think?
Yes. Well, I think that's all very interesting. Well, like meaning to me is directly related to pleasure and to things that are, good to me, of course. For example, this is a very controversial topic, but I don't think there is a meaning to life itself. I don't think life itself has a meaning. I think your life may mean something to you, depending on what you like, depending on what you do, depending on what your inclinations, your passions. And everyone is different. I mean, every person is different. So all I can hope and expect that people do is follow their instincts, follow their passions, follow their heart. But it's not easy. It's not possible all the time for everybody. There are people that are not, they don't have access to certain basic things that we have nowadays, and that simply don't think about, following a passion. Like sometimes people have to think about eating first, which is sometimes not possible for some people. So, but we're lucky enough that we can think about these things, that we can think about, our lives and, what we can do, our choices. Well, today I'll maybe look for something else to do because I'm not really happy at my job. Like, that's what I did. That's what you did too. I have to say though that I was not. It's not that I was not happy teaching, which I still do, by the way. I still teach. I have a job at a VFX school close to here. But it's it was the context in which I was before. That was not really the one that I really wanted to have. Anyway, so meaning to me is it's doing what you like. It's doing what you feel good about. I mean, and if you feel good learning what you're learning at the moment, that is meaningful to you. I mean, good for you, man. I mean, good that you have found, your call, and good that you're happy doing this podcast because you're enjoying it. You're contributing to other people's lives, which is great. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm happy too. So this is very meaningful to me anyway.
Yeah. So like in a couple of years, if you if you started not liking being a character artist, I mean, you would pursue something else.
Well, very likely, very likely. If I'm not happy about it, if I get tired of it,
that's interesting, Sean. This is what I like about you. Actually, it's you're not afraid of pursuing things at all.
No. Why would I be afraid? I mean, back in the days, decades ago, things were very tough in terms of careers. People had to choose one thing and go till the end and die doing that same thing. Because that was what things, what society expected from you. Have go to school, choose one job and do it until you die. Retire and whatever. We know this is not necessary nowadays. I'm lucky
Yeah.
enough to be in a country where, I have the possibility of having a break from work, and thinking about what I can do next. This is something great about France, life in France. Back in Brazil, I couldn't do this. I would have to be working my ass off to, to save and to, I don't know, struggle and maybe, have the conditions to make a change in my life. But I'm not afraid at all of saying, that if one day I get tired of this 3D thing, which I don't think will happen. I don't think so, because I can always work with the things that I like in 3D. I don't have to do always the things that I don't like. I can work from home and do what I like, and people will contact me for what I do, which is what I like. So, but if one day I get tired of it, why should I continue doing it? I'll go back to something else that
Yes.
I like. I don't know, I'll pursue something else. We'll see. But I'm very happy at the moment, so I don't think I'll change anytime soon.
Man, you have no idea how much I'm happy talking to you. It's
Oh,
very
great, so am I.
inspiring to talk to people like you. I
Great,
I like
great.
I,
Well, I'm glad
I
I
like
can help.
talking to you. I feel so good. I feel so good talking to you, man. It's
Oh, great,
like
man! I'm glad I can, share some positiveness to you. Good vibes. Great. Yeah.
no, I think even people would people listening to this would be. It's going to be beneficial for them also.
Well, I hope so. Well, I hope I'm not
yeah,
saying anything useless to your community. I hope I'm
Not at
contributing
all.
actually to your podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Sean, thanks so much, and I'll give you my final question. This is the official final question in every podcast.
Okay. Sure.
So, what is your advice for yourself? If you can go back to the like say the 19 years old Sean.
Okay, I know. Don't be so sure about what you think your future will be. Don't be so sure. Don't be 100% absolute about your beliefs, about your, convictions, about your own self. Like I used to tell myself, I would never do this. I would never do that. I would never do that kind of thing. I would never live in that kind of context. Guess what? All of those things I said I wouldn't do, I have done. So, yeah, I would tell myself not to be so strict about, your future and the life you want to lead, and the conditions you want to live in, because a lot has changed for me in a way that I would never have expected. So that's my advice to my 19-year-old self.
Great advice. Have you ever heard about the term Wu Wei?
What's that?
The act of not for Wu Wei. It's in Chinese.
No, I
It's
haven't
the
heard that
act of
before,
not
no.
forcing. You have to read about it.
Okay.
It's the act of not forcing. It's letting the nature takes how can I say that? For example, I'll give you an example.
Go
For
ahead.
me now, I want to be a character artist.
Right.
Some people would force themselves like I have to do it now. I have to do it quickly, and some people would not even think about it. They will come, practice, and they will evolve naturally, and that's it. They will not force themselves. Forcing someone like if you're forcing yourself so hard, you're going to be miserable.
Possibly.
And
Yes.
Wu Wei, it's I don't know if it's from Buddhism or not, But it's a great concept. You can read about it. It's a very great concept.
How do you spell that?
WU
Okay.
WEI.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking it up right now. Right.
So anyway, Sean. Anyway, thanks for coming to the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure, man. As I told you, I feel really good. I was inspired by the things you said, and I'm sorry if I got philosophical on you.
Well, look, you don't have to say sorry about that, because I like talking about philosophy and life vaguely. I like doing that because it helps your mind wander, and it's pleasant. So I have to say thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure. I really had a good time talking to you. It was nice. It was easy. So all good, man. I mean, I hope I haven't bored your audience to death. I hope I don't know, shared something positive to all of you. But then again, all those things that I said are related to me and how I work, how I function, how I see things. I don't want people to believe that those things that I said are absolute truths and they should do it that way and whatever. That's my path, my story.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. We should do this again later on.
If you want. My pleasure.
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.